What is going on, guys? It is time for some playoff football. Gonna be live right up till around kickoff of the first game. Thomas, how's it going, my man? A lot of exciting games. All four of the games this weekend to me are going to be really, really fun to watch. Tailgate Podcast, how's it going, my man? I think the Rams-Packers game is probably the game I'm least excited for, but even that game, there's a lot to be excited about. Bills-Ravens over 49. The over-unders that they set, guys, are very hard to beat. I do think that game will go over, but the over-unders, I generally speaking, stay away from, and I focus on the player props. Hey, man, how's your day been? It's been great, man. I woke up today, I said we get two fantastic football games, and we got to appreciate every minute of football we have left because in just a few weeks, we're going to be waiting for a long time before football is back. So I'm definitely excited. What's the light goal for the free lock, Brendan? Right, we're getting right to it, man. Here's the deal for the free locks of the day. I see a lot of people asking for the prop of the day because we've only been wrong 3 times this entire season with our free props. It's now week 19 of the NFL. So do that math. 15 out of 18 so far this year. Every 100 likes we get on this YouTube live stream in the next 2 hours, you're going to get one free player prop. We have 8 player props identified today in the WalterPicks app. 8 player props identified in the WalterPicks app today and tomorrow combined in the NFL. We also got some NBA props going in the WalterPicks app. I've been working for a couple of years on that algorithm. Finally was in a good enough spot to release it just a couple of weeks ago. Those have had over 70% accuracy on over 25 picks since we released that. So that's been crushing it as well. Definitely check out those NBA player props if you haven't checked them out yet. Over-unders. Yeah, the over-unders, the game that's projected to have by far the most points, and it's really not that close. It is the Cleveland Browns versus the Kansas City Chiefs. That game has an over-under of 57.5. And the next highest is the game right after that, the Bucks versus the Saints. 57.5 is insane. I think that if you're playing DFS, you gotta have a lot of Browns and Chiefs players in those lineups. Yeah, the prize picks and underdog are great, and I'm excited about those partnerships, but sometimes they don't have all of the props that we're identifying, and you got to go to your traditional sports books to find them there. It's the same place, hopefully, where you bet on NFL props. They should have NBA props as well. Picked all the overs this weekend. Good luck with that. They're probably going to go 2 over, 2 under. Packers, Rams under. You like? I don't love over-unders in general. I, generally speaking, have not been able to have a system that identifies which over-unders you should be playing. And I don't think anyone that's suggesting they have a system that does that is telling the truth, because they're set extremely well. About 50% of games go over and about 50% of games go under. But what we have done is we have built an artificially intelligent algorithm that has identified exploitable player prop picks for us for 2 straight seasons. Now, we've had over 65% accuracy in back-to-back seasons in the NFL. We've now had over 70% accuracy for the NBA props so far since that was released just a couple of weeks ago. So that's what I focus on is the props. I've really only bet on one game this season, and that was last weekend, the Ravens. That game was, to me, they should have been favored by more, and the Ravens ended up covering in that game. You like MVS today. I think that MVS or Allen Lazard, one of those 2 guys is probably going to outproduce their expectations. So I have sprinkled them in a little bit in my DFS lineups. And guys, hit that like button. If you're watching live on YouTube right now, hit that like button. When we get to 100 likes on the YouTube live stream, I'll be giving away our free player prop pick of the day. And when we get to 200 likes, you'll get another free player prop pick. So every 100 likes today that we get on this YouTube stream, another free player prop pick. And if you're a subscriber in the WalterPicks app, you can already see all 8 of the player props that we've identified for today and for tomorrow. 8's a lot for 4 games. I really wasn't expecting to get 8. You got Progressive from State Farm. Yeah, you're getting the Sam discount if you sign up in the WalterPicks app today. Right now, there is a slight discount going on. How many fantasy points for Kelsey? At least 20. I think Travis Kelsey is going to do very well. And if you're playing DFS, you have to consider paying up for Travis Kelsey. He has such a higher floor and such a higher ceiling than every other tight end. It's really not even close. Like, he's in a whole nother level of tight end. He's essentially a wide receiver at the tight end position. So I do think you've got to pay up for Travis Kelsey if you are able to in your DFS lineups. I have the Kelsey Mahomes stack a lot, even though they're the 2 highest priced at their positions. Spencer, you gotta go check out DraftKings then. Yeah, guys, hit that like button if you haven't hit that like button yet. When we get to 100 likes on this YouTube stream, we will be giving out a free player prop pick today. My favorite DFS. There's a lot of guys I like in DFS this weekend, but I don't think there's many more I like than Nick Chubb. Nick Chubb, guys, he's projected to have 16.7 points. He's like top 3 value at the running back position, but he's had at least, like, especially in a head-to-head contest, he's had at least 10 carries in every healthy game that he's played this season. He's averaging almost 88 yards per game. And the Chiefs' run defense, guys, is their biggest weakness by a lot. They have been bottom 5 in the NFL in terms of rushing yards per game allowed to running backs, but also they haven't played good running backs. They've played the easiest running back schedule of any team. So those two things combined really do suggest that the Browns are going to be set up for success in the running game. You parlaying all 8 props, that has to have huge odds. Yeah, Matt, I always parlay all the props just because I feel like I'm obligated to. But other than that, I stay away from the parlays because parlays really, as fun as it is to see how big of a return you can get from parlays, they're really horrible in terms of trying to actually make money. They reduce Cobb. Yeah, good to see you in the live stream. There's a lot of, like, there's 2 groups of people when you're talking about trying to bet and finding the right place to bet. You're either in a legal state in the United States, and then you can bet confidently with DraftKings and Fanduel, and you really get every possible line you could possibly hope for. Then if you're in an illegal state, you got to kind of do some research on your own and figure out the best legal way that you can place bets. It depends on the state, which is why it's so hard to answer some of those questions. I parlayed your NBA picks tonight. It's okay. Parlaying is fun, but if you're actually trying to win money in the long term, I don't recommend parlaying. I don't recommend the parlays, but I do always parlay all of the picks into one, just like $10. I think it's $10 to win a lot with the eight players. Yeah, so there is weather this weekend. There is no wind over 25 miles an hour, but there is really cold weather in this Packers-Rams game, and I don't think that's a good thing for the Rams. And it seems like it would help them. Again, the Packers-Rams game, guys, this is the best offense, one of the top 2 offense really in the NFL over the last 2 months. It's been the Packers and the Bills who have had the top 2 offenses and the best defense. They're up against the best defense. The Rams have been absolutely dominating offenses. And this is a clash of offense versus defense. The difference here, though, is that I don't think that the snow and the cold is going to help the Packers. The Rams, as much as it will help the Packers, I think that Aaron Rodgers is going to be just fine in the weather where Spencer, Porzingis broke my heart last night too, dude. We identified Porzingod, as I like to call him, as a exploitable player prop pick for the NBA last night, and he missed a 3 in the last 15 seconds of the game to put him over. It was brutal. That broke my heart last night as well. Let's have a day, Sam. It's time to take over DraftKings. That's what I'm talking about. Matt says Bovada is good for those other states. Yeah, I think that's a relatively good advice. Yes, we will be giving away a free prop pick. We're already 75% of the way there. We just got to hit that like button on the YouTube live stream. So if you're watching live on TikTok, you got to go hit that like button over on YouTube. When we get to 100 likes on the YouTube live stream, I'll be giving away a free player prop pick. You guys can see I'm rocking my Cooper Kupp jersey today. Cooper Kupp was our 3rd most profitable player for Walter this season. Number 1 was A.J. Brown. Number 2 was Justin Jefferson. Cooper Kupp was number 3. Do you bet a lot on your props because they're so successful? Yes, Spencer, I do. I bet on all of them. And I do not think I would have been able to start this business, WalterPicks. I would not have had enough money to start this app had I not done it last season as well. So yeah, we've had a positive ROI betting on these props for over 2 years now. So yes, I do. Will Kupp or Woods be guarded by Alexander? I think it'll probably be Woods. And Kupp is questionable today, but it looks like he's going to play. Same thing with Aaron Donald. I think both of them are going to play through their injuries. Go to the YouTube, boys. Man deserves all the subscribers possible. That's what I'm talking about, guys. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. We're a third of the way towards a free player prop pick. Once we hit 100 likes, I'll be giving away a free player prop pick. Do I take Mahomes and Kelsey this week? Yeah, I like both of them. I like the stack a lot in DFS too. Did your Instagram say $100 in each pick made 4.4K this year? It sounds about right to me, Spencer. That does sound about right. Godwin or Marquise Brown? I would probably lean Godwin. Favorite DFS plays? Yeah, let's go through some of the DFS. Well, let's start on DraftKings. For me, the tight end position, I like to kind of start at the onesie positions, quarterback and tight end. A quarterback, to me, you're either playing, you have three options, really. It's Patrick Mahomes. Are you going to pay up for Mahomes, or are you going to go with the rushing with Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen? I think you got to choose one of those three guys. I personally like Mahomes as the safest option, but Josh Allen, to me, has the most upside for the cheapest price. At tight end, you're either going with Travis Kelce, or you're going to pay down for another elite option in Mark Andrews, or you're going to pay down a little bit more for Austin Hooper. Those three guys are really the only tight ends I would consider. And Austin Hooper, guys, saw targets last week. Hooper, he's the number one value, according to Walter this week. He's averaging over 10 targets per game over his last 3 games. He's also scored a touchdown in 4 of his last 6 games. Austin Hooper has been one of the best tight ends over the last month. He really has been one of the biggest parts of that offense. And I do like him if you're not going to pay up for Travis Kelce or Mark Andrews. Who's winning the matchup, Adams or Ramsey? That's one of the most exciting matchups of the weekend. We're going to get to see it in just under 2 hours, and you can start to hear the excitement in my voice as we're getting closer to kickoff. I'm so excited to watch that matchup, and the frustrating part about it is Ramsey isn't going to guard him every play, and Davante Adams is probably going to do very well on the plays where he's not guarded by Ramsey. But when he is matched up with Ramsey, I still do think Davante Adams can beat him. It won't shock me at all. What tight end do I use if not Kelce? Yeah, if you're not going with Travis Kelce, you're going with Mark Andrews or you're going with Austin Hooper. Those are really the only 3 options. Metcalf beat Ramsey, sort of, but not really. When Ramsey was guarding Metcalf man-to-man, Metcalf really didn't do anything. It was when he was in zone. That was when Metcalf did all of his damage. I wouldn't be going – I think that if you're playing DFS, it's got to be Mahomes, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson. Tom Brady and Drew Brees offer interesting – upside at a cheap price because that game does have the second highest over-under of the week. Baker Mayfield also has some interesting sleeper value with that over-under, but I really don't think they offer the same floor-ceiling combination based on the simulations that we did this week for that Mahomes, Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson have. All 3 of those guys just have astronomical upside. Tonyan for tight end, he can be considered. I don't like him quite as much as those other 3 guys. Tonyan always kind of, I feel like I was a little... I faded Tonyan probably more than I should have throughout this whole season, and the reason is the volume just isn't really there for him. You're really banking on a touchdown more so than yards when it comes to Tonyan, which actually ended up being fine at the tight end position this season. Like, he still finished as a top 5 tight end, even though he really didn't have very many targets because he scored so many touchdowns. What's your thoughts on Chubb over 68.5 rushing yards? I like Nick Chubb a lot. That's all I'll say about that. Is your free player prop pick of the week on Twitter coming today or tomorrow? Matt, good question. Our free player prop pick on Twitter, it's coming today. It should be coming today. Our Twitter's been blowing up recently, which has been a lot of fun. And we'll also be giving away a free player prop pick on this live stream in just 60 likes from now. You got to hit that like button over on the YouTube, live YouTube. Once we hit 100 likes on this live YouTube stream, I'll be giving away another free player prop pick. Do you think Knox gets a TD? Probably not. Stacking with Mahomes, yeah, I do like. I like the Kelce. I think. Oh, if you're talking head-to-head, definitely Kelce, Spencer. And by the way, guys, so one of the biggest – I'm in 6 high-stakes fantasy football leagues this season at least. Probably going to end up being more. It feels like it's always more every season. But this season I was in 6 high-stakes fantasy leagues. One of them was a season-long head-to-head DraftKings league. There were 64 teams in the league. 64 teams. And I'm in the finals of this 64-team league, in the finals, in a DraftKings head-to-head league. So I submit one head-to-head lineup into this league every single week. I'm in the finals this week. And if I win, I can win up to $6,000. So this is a big one. And I in my head-to-head lineup, in that league, and hopefully the person I'm playing against isn't listening. Yeah, it is intense, Matt. 64 teams. I'm in the championship today. It happens today and tomorrow. And if hopefully the person I'm playing against is not listening, but my head-to-head lineup has Mahomes, and it has Kelce, and it has Nick Chubb. To me, like, those 3 guys, thank you, I appreciate it. And I appreciate the someone who said good luck. But I do think that Mahomes, to me, is the safest quarterback of anyone. They have the highest over-under of the week. Stacking him with Kelce, I really like it in head-to-head. And I also really like Nick Chubb as well. Any money for second place? Yeah, I'm locking in at least 2.5K. But first place, it is a top heavy payout, so I'm definitely hoping. No way that guy knows what he's up against. Yeah, hopefully not, Ryan. Do you think that Mayfield will throw two TDs? Yeah, I mean, again, the over under of that game is 57.5. They're in the Browns are 10-point underdogs, which is pretty insane. I think the implied team total for them is around 24, so they're expecting like 3 touchdowns. I think they're going to go over that. Everyone go like the YouTube live stream. Yeah, guys, go hit that like button on YouTube. If you're watching live on YouTube, hit that like button. When we get to 100 likes, I'm going to be giving away a free player prop pick of the day every 100 likes. So we're going to leave the upside for all of you to determine. If we hit 100 likes, you'll get 1 free player prop. 200 likes, we'll get another one. Obviously, Dobbins. Yeah, I agree. What about Mahomes over 2.5? I think Mahomes is going to throw over 2.5 touchdowns. I think Baker Mayfield's going to throw over 1.5 touchdowns. I don't think either of those is going to be surprising really at all. Hit that like button, guys. Defense doesn't matter that much on DraftKings, right? No, Spencer, it doesn't. And the defense, choosing a defense on DraftKings is one of the more interesting positions in this 4-game slate. There's really only one good defense, and that's the Rams, but they're going up against the best offense in the NFL. The Chiefs are big favorites, but you got to have a bunch of Browns players in your lineups if you know what you're doing this week because the over-under is just so high. So you don't really want to play the Chiefs defense. I think the Saints defense is interesting. The Saints or the Bucks, I could see either of those defenses outperforming expectations. I don't think you really want to touch the Ravens or the Bills defenses. I ended up going with the Rams just because I think that their defense, even against a good Packers team in this weather, could end up being a pretty good value at where they're priced at DraftKings. I believe it was one of the lowest. Just subbed on YouTube. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button too if you haven't subscribed yet on YouTube. Chubb and Marquise Brown or Singletary and Godwin. I'd probably go with that first one, but Devin Singletary is a guy that I've seen all over like mainstream DFS propaganda this week. Propaganda is probably not the right word, but Devin Singletary is a big sleeper for a lot of people this week. There's no Zach Moss. Zach Moss on the IR, so he has the backfield to himself. I'm not that in on Devin Singletary. He's really not a guy that's ever been that efficient, and I feel like the Bills are just going to throw so much in this game that Devin Singletary could very easily score under 10 points. He's still going to need a touchdown to return value. I don't love the Devin Singletary play, even though he's priced really low. Like in terms of touches per dollar on DraftKings, he's pretty great value. But I think that Devin Singletary is to me, he has bust potential more so than I think most people are realizing. Buffalo is going to be freezing tomorrow. I could easily see that game being low scoring. Yeah, Buffalo is supposed to be freezing. I think that game's today, though. I don't know if you realize that. The Rams-Packers game, that's also supposed to be a very cold game. And as I've said throughout these live streams throughout the entire year, the biggest thing, I've done some research on how weather impacts offenses because it is always a topic that comes up. And what I found is that there's only a statistically significant impact on offenses when there is wind over 25 miles an hour. Wind. Ryan's been listening. He's been taking notes. Wind is the only thing that really has like this big, very clear impact on offenses. And that really isn't that surprising, right? Like if the wind is fast enough, you just can't throw the ball deep. And deep passing is what's most efficient for offenses in the NFL. Deep passing attacks, like teams don't throw the ball deep enough. They really should be throwing the ball deep more. And when you can't do that because the wind is so fast, that's what impacts offenses. The snow and the cold impacts some players, but not everyone. And so it's not going to show up as statistically significant in kind of this big sample size that I was looking at, but it can impact certain players. I saw some research out there this week that Jared Goff has struggled in cold weather games in his career. Jared Goff also looked horrible trying to battle through that injury in their last game. The Rams, I really don't think, like I'm most confident out of all of the games this weekend. I think I'm most confident in the Packers beating the Rams. Like the Rams have no offense. The only chance that the Rams can beat the Packers is if their defense plays amazing and Cam Akers just carries the offense, because Jared Goff is not going to be the one that carries the offense in this game. For the Ravens and the Bills, this game to me is a complete coin flip. I think it should be an even. I don't think there should be any spread in this game. Right now, the Bills are 2.5-point favorites. I think that should be more of a pick 'em. So I like the Ravens in terms of the spread. I won't be surprised either way. That game to me could go completely either way. Yeah, he has. It's definitely been a small sample size. That's right. It's been like 4 games. But yeah, I don't think even without the cold weather, I think we all should be expecting Jared Goff to struggle in this game. And the Packers, the only chance that the Rams have to win this game is Cam Akers and is like being able to establish the run and really get first downs running the ball, which they do have somewhat of a chance doing because the weakness of the Packers team this season has been stopping the run. They're bottom 10 in the NFL, stopping the run. It's similar to the Chiefs. The Chiefs' weakness is stopping the run. And I think that's the Browns' path to winning, is being able to get first downs while running the ball and trying to really limit the number of offensive opportunities that the opposing team has. When it comes to the Ravens and the Bills, I think that the team that's like the offense that is most efficient passing the ball in getting first downs in those games is going to end up winning. I do like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as an underdog, but I do think that the Saints, like I see why the Saints are favorites. I won't be surprised at all if the Saints win that game. I could see all 4 of these games going any way, but the teams that I'm most confident in order, Green Bay Packers, Kansas City Chiefs, then I would probably go with the Buffalo Bills. Then I'd say the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Porzingis almost drained. I know. Jake, I was watching the game, prop winning 3-pointer game. I think it was going to tie the game, right? Win the game. I think it was going to send it to OT, maybe. But I can't believe you missed that. Porzingis. I'm sure Walter's going to identify Porzingis again later this season, though. He looked a little slow. Like, it was kind of brutal watching him. He looked slow, but when he finally got to where he was going, he looked okay. And Embiid for MVP. The Nuggets are the 7 seed. Jokic can't win it. Yeah, I think we'll see. We'll see if Embiid can really last the long stretch. It was to take a lead. Yeah, Spencer, it was. Does Devontae score a TD? Probably. If Jalen Ramsey's not going to shadow him throughout the whole game, he's probably going to score a TD. Do Ravens get edge because of wind? I have not seen that there's going to be wind in that game over 25 miles an hour. Let me get a little weather update because I'm seeing a lot of weather questions in the chat. Going great, Yardsman. Good to see you, my man. Fanduel Advice. Yeah, listen, on Fanduel, I love the Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce stack. Travis Kelce is even more of a value on FanDuel than he is on DraftKings. So I think you kind of have to go with Travis Kelce on FanDuel. I also do really like Mahomes' price on FanDuel as well. So I like that stack a lot. And on both FanDuel and DraftKings, I do think that the Rams defense is probably the best value. When is NBA coming to WalterPicks? You're behind, man. We came to WalterPicks a week ago now. We've been active for a week on NBA in the WalterPicks app. If you don't see that, you got to go to the App Store, hit that update button, because we've had over 70% accuracy with our NBA player prop picks. And we have been dominating DFS in the NBA as well with our NBA optimizer for DFS. So definitely go check that out in the WalterPicks app, guys. If you haven't checked that out yet, we've been working behind the scenes on that for literally over 2 years. And so I'm super excited to finally have that out. Do you play Prize Picks? Yeah, no, I do play Prize Picks. And there's actually a link in the WalterPicks app. Then if you sign up with that link, then we get a nice affiliate bonus. I bought the premium subscription for basketball props and you've been helping me make some money. Thanks, Sam Jack. That's what I'm talking about, man. That is what I'm talking about. And when you subscribe to the WalterPicks app, the expectation is that you're going to make more money than what the subscription costs, Jake. So that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Jake, Walter's been on an absolute NBA heater. I don't think we could have possibly hoped for a better start to the NBA than what Walter has done. Over 70% accuracy is amazing. The algorithm is designed to have between 60 and 65% accuracy. If you had to take a Bills receiver that's not Diggs, how would you roll? Yeah, I think that Cole Beasley or John Brown, one of those two guys, is going to outproduce their expectations. My money is on Cole Beasley to be that guy. I think that Cole Beasley is going to have a great game, but I won't be surprised if both of those guys outproduce expectations. I mean, John Brown only needs 2 catches to really have a huge day. I've never played NBA DraftKings. Is your lineup optimizer good enough for me to blindly follow? Yeah, Spencer, here's what you need to know about NBA DFS. And I've really gotten more into NBA DFS over the last year, kind of like the end of the NBA bubble and the start of this season. And what you need to know about the NBA DFS is a few things. One, you need to be updating your lineups 30 minutes before the game starts, because there's going to be players that are out that make these certain players just obvious starts. And so we refresh the projections in the optimizer 30 minutes before each game starts. So definitely that's when you should be making your lineups if you're not going to be making a ton of lineups. So there's going to be a few players that are super underpriced that everyone has. There's players in NBA DFS that are over 90% owned. And that never happens in the NFL. And you almost have to have those guys because they're almost locks. Then you kind of have to just like lock in studs. Like you want to play the all-stars, as many all-stars as you can in your lineups. And then you kind of just have to take a few dart throws with some underpriced guys. That's my general advice for NBA. And yeah, you can kind of blindly follow with that strategy, the NBA DFS optimizer, and you will have a fighting chance against professional people that you're up against. Fanduel advice for Packers at Rams. Yeah, I think the Rams side, you kind of have to have Cam Akers in your lineup. Like, I think anyone going into this game, like, it's very obvious that the way the Rams have a chance is to feed Cam Akers the ball, which they've been doing a lot in the last few games. Cam Akers, guys, he's averaging 22.8 carries per game, 94 yards per game over his last 5 games. I think Cam Akers is very much in the Jonathan Taylor conversation for next season. Like, I won't be surprised at all if I'm happily taking Cam Akers a round or two later than Jonathan Taylor in fantasy drafts next season. Cam Akers, again, 23 carries per game, 94 yards per game over his last 5. He has a great matchup, too. The Packers defense, it's allowing the 5th most fantasy points per game to running backs this season. So everything's lining up for Cam Akers to be an auto lock into your DFS lineups. He's underpriced. He's 5,700 on DraftKings. He's underpriced on FanDuel as well. So I do like Cam Akers a lot. Thoughts on Jets getting Salah? Yeah, I think that was one of the better hirings of the entire coaching hirings that have gone on in the past week. There's a ton of coaching news that's come out. I plan to do a few videos on TikTok about it after the NFL season. Some of them were awful. Some of them were great. I think the Jets already did something amazing by getting rid of Adam Gase. They could not have gotten worse, but then they also made a pretty good hiring. I think that the arrow for the Jets is definitely pointing up. You like Jones or Adams today? I think I like Adams a little bit more. What do you think about Devonta Smith in the NFL? We're going to be posting a ton of content about prospects as we get closer and closer to the NFL draft. I just read something, though, that unfortunately looks like the NFL Combine is not going to be quite the same this year, so we'll have a little less information heading into the draft. But I do think he's going to be a very, very good NFL player. Hot take, either the Chiefs and or Packers will lose. Yeah, I don't see that happening. I don't see the Packers or the Chiefs losing. I'm most confident in both those. Prize picks this week. Yeah, we have 8 prop picks identified as exploitable in the WalterPicks app. And you can find some of those props are available on Prize Picks. So you got to go check those out. They're available for all of our premium subscribers. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. When we hit 100 likes, we're over halfway there, everyone. We're less than halfway through the stream. We're over halfway there to 100 likes. When we get to 100 likes on this YouTube stream, going to be giving away our free prop pick of the day. When will Prize Picks be legal in New Jersey? Spencer, I'm not sure, but I can get back to you on that. Do you think the Ravens upset the Bills? Yes, I think they have a very real chance to do it, Dante. I'm personally taking the Bills. I think the Bills offense is a little bit better than what the Ravens offense is, but I won't be surprised at all if the Ravens win that game. Personally, I'm taking the Bills. But the Ravens, I'm rooting for the Ravens. If you remember at the beginning of the playoffs, those that have been with me every single week, I made a few bets on who was going to win the Super Bowl, but just based on the odds. You got to take into consideration the odds you're getting, guys. The odds matter a ton. And the odds that I was liking at the beginning of the playoffs were the Baltimore Ravens to win the Super Bowl and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. I put $50 on both of those, over $500 return if either of those things happen. So I'm rooting for both those teams. And I also, if you remember at the very beginning of the season, I did put $10 on the Cleveland Browns to win the Super Bowl, because that just, to me, the way the year was going, it's the most poetic ending to 2020, to the season of 2020. The Browns heading to the Super Bowl. It's just too poetic of an ending. When do picks get determined as locks in the app? Jake, good question. It is a lock in the app if it's above a certain confidence threshold. So the way that picks are identified by our algorithm, it's over 65% confident. That's the threshold. The locks are only triggered when it's over 70% confident. So 75%. Did I say 70%? 75% confidence is when the lock is triggered. So if the lock is there on the app, that means Walter's over 75% confident in that one. If it's no lock, but the prop is there, over 65% confidence. That's the threshold that Walter has. So definitely the locks are more confident. FanDuel favorites in the Ravens game. Yeah, I think Lamar Jackson, Mark Andrews, Marquise Brown. J.K. Dobbins also is a guy that won't surprise me at all if he scores multiple touchdowns today. No, life is too short to bet on the under. Yeah, the algorithm was specifically designed to identify overs, and we're working on some stuff for unders. intuition says that under should actually be easier because books kind of tend to push the lines higher because more people bet on the overs. But I've yet to build an algorithm I'm confident enough to release with unders in it. So no unders right now. Jones or Chubb. Chubb, for me, it's Chubb. I think both those guys could definitely do really well. I think both those guys will score a touchdown, but I like Chubb a little bit more. Again, the Chiefs are bottom 5 in the NFL in terms of rushing yards allowed to running backs this season, but they've had the easiest schedule against running backs. Like, think about those two things combined. The Chiefs are going to get run over by Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt this week, and I think that I like both of them for that reason. Any locks? Yes, we have locks. There are locks this weekend. There are locks in the NFL. We have NBA player prop locks in the app right now as well. There are locks available. Diggs and Adams will underperform today. I don't think Diggs will. Adams is probably a little bit more likely. Glad to see you, bro. Thanks for the response on Twitter. Josh, good to see you too, man. Josh, good to see you too. Thanks for interacting with us over on Twitter. Our Twitter's been blown up recently. If you don't follow us on Twitter, at WalterPicks, got to go do that. Is Baker a good cheap option for DraftKings? Yeah, Tyler, he is an interesting cheap option because of the high over-under in that game. By far the highest over-under, 57.5. And he's one of the cheaper quarterbacks this weekend. But I don't think that he's going to end up paying off for you. I think that they're going to score most of their touchdowns on the ground. Random note, because not about football. What do you think about the Rockets trade? Yeah, I got that trade. It does remind me a little bit of the Celtics Brooklyn trade. I know a lot of people have said that. It's a little bit different though, in the sense of like when the Celtics traded Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to the Nets way back when for literally all of their picks, they already weren't very good. Like, they were very much past their prime. James Harden is still very good. He's still a top 5 scorer in the NBA. So I do think it was a really risky trade that could very easily backfire, but the upside still is a championship. So, and I think that's what teams should be shooting for, right? Like championships. So I'm actually okay with the trade from all sides. I do think the Rockets, I think it worked out amazing for the Rockets. And it was a high risk, high upside trade for the Nets. Bunch of NFL plays just got added this morning. Everybody get a membership. Yeah, we added some more NFL prop picks this morning. We have 3 NBA prop picks going today. Those games are starting very soon as well. A lot to be excited about today in the prop pick world. And I'm super excited that we officially launched our NBA product, guys. We've had over 70% accuracy with our NBA player prop picks, which has been absolutely amazing so far. Is this a good DraftKings lineup? Mahomes, Akers, Chubb, Brown, Lazard, Beasley. Yeah, I think that looks great. I generally speaking, though, don't like playing 2 tight ends. And I know that the app, a lot of the times, the optimizer suggests 2 tight ends because it really likes to price down that flex. But I don't think you should be playing 2 tight ends in your lineups. I think get that second tight end out. This will either make the Nets top contenders for 3+ years or spot. Yeah, 3+ years might even be pushing it. Like, I think it might make them a contender this season. We'll see. Like, Kyrie Irving's a complete wild card. Like, you just have 2 very volatile players. You got rid of a lot of depth on that team to do that trade. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Most underrated receiver. Zach, there's a ton of underrated receivers, but the 2 that come to mind the most for me right away, Terry McLaurin and Allen Robinson. Both those guys are just so underrated. Terry McLaurin, I feel like, is heading down the Allen Robinson path of just never having a good quarterback. But Allen Robinson, I really hope we see him go to a good team. He's a free agent, unrestricted free agent this offseason. So I'm really excited to see where Allen Robinson lands. How do you think the wind and weather will affect the Bills and Ravens game? Yeah, I was looking that up. Let's see what this weather forecast is, if it's changed at all. I'm seeing what are your tips for an aspiring group of teenage boys trying to begin a podcast for the NFL? Yeah, I actually started in the NFL space with a podcast. I had it for about a year, my junior and senior year of college. I do think podcasting is an extremely competitive landscape. There's so many fantasy football and NFL podcasts that it's extremely difficult, but I don't think it's impossible. But what I would advise you, if you're starting a podcast, like, one, it has to be unique in some way. Like, what makes your podcast different. I think that's worth considering before you start. But also, like, it's not always going to be about getting the most listens. I think that just having fun and learning about the editing process is very much well worth the process. I learned a ton from starting a podcast. I don't think we ever had more than 200 listeners on my podcast that I had for about a year and a half. I'm pretty sure the Nets don't have their own first-round pick until 2028. Sounds about right. 8 NFL prop picks have been identified in the WalterPicks app, guys. So definitely go check it out. If you haven't checked out the WalterPicks app yet, Kupp is out. Is this official? I'm wearing my Cooper Kupp jersey right now. I was rooting for him to play. Cooper Kupp was our third most profitable player this season. Rams Cooper Kupp is officially inactive. Rams Cooper Kupp officially inactive. So RIP Cooper Kupp, probably the end of his season. So that's pretty sad. He couldn't tough out that knee injury. Is there any reason not to bet $1,000 in all of your prop picks and make $40K over the year? No, there's no reason, Spencer, not to do that other than, previous accuracy never guarantees future accuracy. So there's obviously, it sounds less risky, Spencer, when you look backwards than it is when you look forwards, obviously. But there's no reason not to do it. Did you do any DFS lineups for today? Yes, I did. I was explaining earlier. I'm in this season, one of the high stakes leagues I was in was a 64-team league, head-to-head season-long league, 64 teams where you submitted a new DraftKings lineup each week as your lineup. 64-team DraftKings league. And I am in the final 2 teams of those 64 people today, and tomorrow is when the playoffs are. And I had to submit one DraftKings lineup by the start of this next game as my lineup. And I do think that I'm going to take home the ship, and I'm knocking on wood. It's a very competitive league, but I am very excited about the lineup I have. And just a quick tease of the lineup. I stacked Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce. I'm hoping nobody is the person I'm playing against isn't listening. But I'm stacking Travis Kelce with Patrick Mahomes. To me, both of those guys have such a higher floor than everyone else at their positions that even though they're very high price, I love the stack. Are you ever going to quit full time and go full time on the app and quit teaching, Spencer? I think I'm going to have an announcement about that coming up in a few months. Never bet money you can't afford to lose. Matt, this is the number one piece of betting advice I give whenever someone asks advice about betting. Do not bet money that you can't afford to lose. This is the golden rule of sports betting. Do not bet money you can't afford to lose. What do you think is the most underrated receiver this weekend? Probably Cole Beasley. He's probably the most underrated. Cooper Kupp is out. Yes, it is official. Thank you for everyone updating us in the chat. Cooper Kupp is officially out. Someone's saying Adams is going to go off against Ramsey. I highly doubt that. I think that Adams is going to do well, but I don't think he's going to do very well when matched up with Jalen Ramsey. What do you get with the champion subscription? Clint, all of the subscriptions in the WalterPicks app give you full access to the entire app. You get access to now daily player props for NBA and weekly props for the rest of the NFL season. You also get access to our NBA and NFL DFS optimizers, which if you're playing NBA and NFL DFS, you kind of have to have an optimizer at this stage of the game. Like, you're going up against other people who are using optimizers. And so if you use our optimizer for the NBA and the NFL, and by the way, you can click through and kind of see how it works for completely free before you subscribe. You also get a 3-day free trial with all of your subscriptions. But the optimizer will keep you competitive with people who are spending hundreds of hours building these lineups against you. So I do think that the subscription will return more value than what it costs. Why are people doubting the Browns? Because they're up against the Chiefs. I mean, it's not that much about the Browns. It's not that much about the Browns. The Chiefs haven't done great. The last couple of months of the season, they had a ton of close games. Like, they could have lost a lot of those games. But the thing is, if you really go back and watch those games, even when it looked like the Chiefs were going to lose, you kind of knew they were coming back. Like, that's what the Chiefs offense, that's the advantage the Chiefs have with their offense. They are never out of a game. There's not a single game they can't win with that offense. They can drive 75 yards in under a minute at any point in time. So that's why people are sleeping on the Browns, because they're up against the Chiefs. And even if the Browns do well, and I do think that the strategy for the Browns is going to be on the ground with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, it's going to be tough for them to win. And I don't see that Browns defense stopping the Chiefs offense. What's a bold prediction for next year? Spencer, I think the Pats are going to be back on top in the AFC East next season. And that's a bold one because we don't really know who their quarterback's going to be. And I'm just getting a notification. Eagles are going to interview Josh McDaniels. But we'll see. we'll see how the Pats play out. Who benefits more from Kupp being out, Reynolds or Van Jefferson? Probably Reynolds. Reynolds has been the guy who's kind of established himself as the number 3 receiver. I'm going to update those projections in the WalterPicks app right now. Got to take Cooper Kupp out. Got to consider starting. You got to consider starting Josh Reynolds in DFS now, but it's just hard for me to really risk any amount of money on Jared Goff doing anything good today. I don't have faith in Jared Goff to do well against this Packers defense in the cold, dealing with an injury. That is all bad signs for Jared Goff, and he's probably the worst quarterback that you can trust. Like, look at the teams left in the NFL, guys. This is not a coincidence. Look at the teams left. Look how many of them have good quarterbacks. Like, really, Jared Goff is the last one. You're like, he's not that great, and maybe some of you don't think Baker Mayfield's any good, but every other team has a good quarterback that's left. Quarterback, by far the most important position in the NFL. What do you think of Robert Saleh hire for the Jets? I think it's a great hire. I'm going to be posting a video about some of those coaching hires probably after the season, maybe in the weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. Yeah, the Browns spread is definitely intriguing. I mean, again, I don't bet on spreads. The only spread I bet on all season was the Ravens last week. That one cashed. I'm not going to be betting on this Browns spread just because I can't get myself to bet against Patrick Mahomes. Like, I don't think that's a winning strategy, even though it actually has won money this season. But the Browns are 10-point underdogs in that game. They're probably going to lose by less than 10. They're probably going to lose by less than 10. Cam Akers today, William, yes, he's averaging 22 carries, 94 yards per game over his last 5 games. Insane workload that Cam Akers is seeing. And he's up against a Packers defense that's allowing the 5th most fantasy points per game. 5th most fantasy points per game. So I do like Cam Akers a lot. Is there any poorly made spreads by Vegas this week, like Ravens last week? Jake, if there is one, it's probably the Browns. I don't think that I have the what's the word, the heart to bet against Mahomes. But if there is any spread that I like this week, it's probably the Browns plus 10. First 10 picks for next year's fantasy draft. We're gonna have plenty of time to dissect that. Tyler, fantasy first round picks next year, says Spencer. Yeah, again, we're going to have a lot of time after the season to talk about that. What's one of your DFS lineups? Yeah, again, I was in a 64-person fantasy league this year. That was a head-to-head league on DraftKings, 64 teams. And the finals is this week, right now, this weekend. And I'm in the finals out of 64 teams. And part of my lineup in this head-to-head contest on DraftKings is Patrick Mahomes stacked with Travis Kelce. Nick Chubb has got to get in your lineup. And in head-to-head, I sneakily like the Nick Chubb Kareem Hunt stack because there's such a high probability when you play both of them, you're getting at least 1 touchdown. And there's been multiple games where both of them have scored. Like the Nick Chubb Kareem Hunt stack in this game, especially, again, the Chiefs have allowed the 5th most rushing yards per game to running backs this season, and they've had the easiest schedule of running backs. So they really are a bad run defense. So I like Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt in head-to-head as well. And then there's a lot of interesting cheap wide receiver options. We have Josh Reynolds as an interesting sleeper option now. We have Cole Beasley and John Brown. One of those guys is going to outproduce what their expectation and what their cost is. Cole Beasley over 45.5, asked someone. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good line to me. Chiefs are 500 against the spread this season or something like that. Yeah, I mean, again, spreads are hard to beat, guys. Spreads and over-unders, extremely hard to beat. Player props, not so much. We've had over 68% accuracy over the last 2 years identifying exploitable player prop picks. And guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. We're over 2/3 of the way there of getting that free player prop pick. I know we can do it. So hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. When we get to 100 likes, I'll be giving away a free player prop pick. Are you going to make any video on free agency predictions? Yeah, I will make some videos about the NFL free agency, definitely. I don't know how much it will be of predictions, but more like kind of what I'm hoping for and what teams need. Because I think one of the best ways to approach free agency, like we learned a lot about what NFL teams are thinking in free agency and in the draft. This is when teams tell you what they're thinking. They tell you with their actions. Like, I don't really listen to the pressers with these general managers and coaches just to kind of spewing whatever they think the media wants to hear. What we know is what they do. And so I will be looking into free agency and in the draft. I'll be making a lot of content about those two things and mostly about like what I see teams' needs as being and seeing if they actually address those needs. Yeah, Matt, agreed. Again, I wouldn't be putting, I definitely have not put anywhere near the amount of money I put on spreads as I put on player props. Is Austin Hooper a good pick for DFS? Yeah, he is. The three tight ends that I think the only three tight ends you got to consider in DFS are Travis Kelce, if you can afford him. He's by far the most expensive. Still probably worth it because his floor and ceiling are just way higher than every other tight end. But if you're not going to pay up for Travis Kelce, then you're either going with Mark Andrews, or if he's too expensive, you're going with Austin Hooper. Austin Hooper is averaging over 10 targets a game over his last 3 games. He's scored 4 touchdowns in his last 6. Like, he's been good. He's been a top 5 tight end over the last couple of months. That's Austin Hooper. Where should McLaren be drafted next year? Probably round 3 or round 4. I mean, Terry McLaren is a very good wide receiver. It'll be interesting to see what that Washington quarterback situation is, though. Do you consider Joe Harris a top 12 player in the NBA? I don't think I would rank him top 12. He's probably right outside. Best first touchdown bets to take today. Yeah, first touchdown bets are some of the most fun, but one of the least profitable bets you can make. So I'd like to preface this with that. But if you are betting on first touchdown on the Packers-Rams game, I'd be going with Cam Akers or Aaron Jones. If you're going with the Ravens or the Bills, I'd probably be going with Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen. If you're going with the Browns and the Chiefs for first touchdown, I'd probably go Nick Chubb or Travis Kelce. And if you're going with the Bucks and the Saints, then I think pick your favorite Bucks wide receiver and then probably Michael Thomas. I'm Premium. Marcus, good to see you, man. What's your DFS look like today only? Yeah, today only. If we're looking at the Rams, Packers, Ravens, Bills, I'd say that go with Cole Beasley and John Brown at wide receiver. Then you can pay up for Aaron Jones, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins. And I think that Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen should probably be your quarterback. I do like the Josh Allen, Cole Beasley, John Brown stack as a pretty cheap stack with Josh Allen, who, guys, Josh Allen's really been the cheat code in DFS this season. And his ownership really hasn't reflected it all that much. I'm surprised every week when I look back at the ownership percentages and Josh Allen was not over like 25% owned. Are you a Rams fan? No, I'm a Patriots fan, but I have a Cooper Kupp jersey because we hit 5 Cooper Kupp props in a row this season. Cooper Kupp was our 3rd most profitable player of the year. I think in the first 8 weeks, we hit Kupp's prop like 5 times or something using the Walter's algorithm in the WalterPicks app. So that's why I have this Cooper Kupp jersey. I love buying jerseys when it feels like the players basically Cooper Kupp bought this jersey himself. Like, he was the reason I was able to buy this jersey. I got an AJ Brown jersey on the way as well. He was our most profitable player in the WalterPicks app this season. And right after him, Justin Jefferson. Definitely got to get his jersey soon too. Emmanuel Sanders, okay today on DraftKings. I don't like Emmanuel Sanders really at all. You think Keenan Allen is going 2nd or 3rd round this next year? Yeah, probably. And Keenan Allen's been one of those guys that has just, no matter what his price is, each season, he's outproduced it. Like, he's one of these guys. If you look back over the last 5 years, Keenan Allen has outproduced his fantasy draft cost in like 5 straight years, at least 5 straight healthy years. One of these years, he's going to drop off. I don't think it's going to be this next season with Justin Herbert. Evans or Godwin? I like Godwin a little bit more. Godwin's over-under is about 10 yards higher than Evans. Godwin's over-under is like 71 yards. Evans over-under is closer to 61 yards. So I like Godwin a little bit more, and so do the sportsbooks. I can't wait for a healthy CMC and Saquon. Yeah, me too. I'm looking forward to both those guys coming back healthy. And guys, we're almost at 70 likes. Who's going to be that 70th like on the YouTube stream? Hit that like button, and we can get to 100 likes, and I will give you a free player prop pick for today in this first game. It's for this first game as well. Devontae Adams over-under receiving yards today, 78 yards. That seems pretty good to me. He's been over that in most of his games this season. If we just look at his last 5 games, he's gone over 115 yards 3 times. The Bears held him under 50 yards, though, and I think that's closer to what he's up against today. And we're at 70 likes, guys. We need 30 more likes, just 30 more likes on our YouTube live stream, and I'll give away a free player prop pick for you all. Over or under for the Rams Packers? I'd probably go with the under. Just because I don't see the Rams being able to put up very many points. Anyone we should look out for who opted out this season, Marcus? I've been thinking a little bit about this. And one guy that I think is going to be really interesting and how he affects the backfield when he comes back is Damien Williams. Damien Williams was the number 1 running back for the Chiefs in their Super Bowl run last year, and he's going to be back, I believe, next season for the Chiefs. It's going to be interesting to see how that backfield shapes up. Curry or Cat in fantasy? I'd probably go Curry. I love Curry. How will you approach Showdown Bills slate? I think the Showdown Bills slate, you should be stacking Josh Allen with Cole Beasley and John Brown. You gotta hope Josh Allen has a huge day, but pivot off of Stephon Diggs, who's probably gonna have a really high ownership. And Then on the flip side, I think you got to go with J.K. Dobbins and Mark Andrews. And that core of a 5, in really in the single slate, but also like the weekend slate, that core of a 5 can definitely win. It has a lot of upside. Again, that's Cole Beasley, John Brown stacked with Josh Allen, and then stacking against them J.K. Dobbins and Mark Andrews. What do you think about A.J. Dillon this next year? Yeah, he definitely could. It's all going to come down to what the Packers do at their running back position this offseason. Jamal Williams and Aaron Jones, both those guys unrestricted free agents in this offseason. So that'll be super intriguing. If I am the Packers, I'm letting both those guys walk, and I'm riding that with A.J. Dillon. I'm a very big believer of team. I'm on team running backs don't matter in terms of winning games in the NFL. You should not be paying big money to running backs. The Dallas Cowboys made a massive, massive mistake giving the amount of money they gave to Ezekiel Elliott. We kind of already saw it play out this season. Like, we have seen teams do well with their running backs not costing them anything. Damien Williams with the Chiefs. We've seen it forever with the Patriots. They've never paid a running back in their big runs in the Super Bowl. We will be giving a free prop pick. 25 likes away, guys. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. 25 more likes, and we'll get that free prop pick. MVS or Allen Lazard, better game. I think I like Allen Lazard a little bit more. I won't be shocked at all when one of those two players ends up outproducing. Do you think Gabriel Davis at all? I don't like him that much this week. I think that with John Brown and with Cole Beasley kind of back in the lineup, you can't be trusting Gabriel Davis or Isaiah McKenzie. If anyone's out there, sportsbooks giving them an under on Isaiah McKenzie's receiving yards, by the way, you should probably be taking that. All my books, they haven't given the option to bet on the under for him. But if you can, I would. Giants would be fools to sign Saquon. Yeah, they're going to do it too. And it's like this, it's this sunk fallacy cost, like the sunk cost almost. Like, they spent this early pick. They designed their offense around what they believe to be like the key part of their offense, when in reality, they need to invest in passing attacks. Like, the passing attacks in the NFL, that is what wins games. That is what scores points. And good running backs, like, yes, there is a difference between Saquon Barkley and a guy like Damien Williams, but it's not the difference there is not worth. It is not worth the millions and millions and millions of dollars that's going to take to keep that guy around, that you could then use towards a more important part of the offense, like passing and like offensive line and like your secondary and defensive line. Like, there's so many more important things than running backs. It's probably the least important position in an NFL team in terms of actually winning games. Yeah, we do have a free player prop pick to give away. We need 25 more likes on this YouTube live stream. So if you're watching live on TikTok, got to come like that YouTube stream. We're 25 likes away. Before kickoff, I'm going to give away a free prop pick once we pass that 100 likes. Is Akers a good risk as the MVP in a Fanduel single game lineup? Yeah, I like it, because I do like it. Cam Akers, again, he's averaging 22 carries, 94 yards per game over his last 5 games. And he's up against a Packers defense that's allowing top 5 fantasy points per game to running backs this season. It's everything's shaping up for Cam Akers to see at least 20 touches against a defense that hasn't done great against running backs this season. The only chance the Rams really have to win this game, if we're just talking about the game, is Cam Akers doing really, really well and getting them first downs repeatedly. So I do like Cam Akers in DFS. I do like him as an interesting captain slot. I usually don't like going pivoting off quarterbacks as the MVP or captain in lineups, just because quarterbacks have way more upside than every other position. But Cam Akers has the chance. Like, there is a realistic chance that Cam Akers can get to 3 touchdowns. So that's why you have no faith in the Browns. Yeah, I think that the Browns, but the interesting thing about the Browns is, like, yes, they are a run-first team, but they have an amazing offensive line. And don't get me wrong, I think Nick Chubb has been the most efficient running back in the NFL this season, but it's really hard to detach the offensive line from the running back. And the Browns have the best offensive line in the NFL, and that helps not just their running game, but also their passing game, which is why it's better to invest in offensive line than invest in the running back position. Dobbins or Akers? I like Akers a little bit more than Dobbins. Guys, hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube right now. 3 likes away from 80 likes. We're almost there. Sorry about the connection on TikTok. I think I just fixed that, by the way. Guys, we're 20 likes away from hitting 100 likes on this YouTube live stream. Hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube to get that free player prop pick. Signed up for the Superfan Championship subscription. Thanks, man. I really do appreciate that. Will I be able to see prop picks automatically, or how does that work? Yes, Clint, you will be able to see those automatically. The second you subscribe, That starts your 3-day free trial, completely free. You won't actually be charged for 3 days from now, Clint. So you should have full access to everything in the app. And I do appreciate you signing up. If you guys haven't subscribed to the WalterPicks app yet, I really do appreciate that. Can you answer my question, bruh? I love seeing those ones because I end up reading your comment that says, can you answer my question? I don't even see your question. The question I think was, who's going to win, Ravens or Bills? I got the Bills, but it's going to be really close. What spreads do you like this week? If I was going to rank the spreads in order of what I like, and again, I'm not betting on any of these, full transparency. I only bet on the player prop picks. So I have 8 props that I'm betting on. They're all available. They were all identified by our artificially intelligent algorithm, Walter. You can find them in the WalterPicks app. If I was to rank the spreads in order of how I'd like them, though, if it doesn't show up, Clint, then close your app and open it again. That should fix it. If that doesn't fix it, then email us. You can find our email in the little hamburger menu in the app, and I'll get that fixed right away. The spreads, ranking them in terms of how I'd like them. I'd say number 1 is probably the Browns plus 10, even though the Browns are probably going to lose. I don't see them losing by more than 10 points. So I like the Browns plus 10. Then I'd probably be going with the Packers minus 7. I think that the Packers are going to destroy the Rams. I just don't see the Rams being able to put up enough points unless Cam Akers has a big day to keep up with the Packers offense. I'm of the mindset of offense trumps defense these days. So I'm taking the Packers minus 7. I think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers plus 3 is one I like a lot. I do think that the Bucs are going to upset the Saints. Do you know what the percentage is on locks for the NFL? Yeah, I think we've had 2 misses on locks this season out of at least 12. So you can do the math there. 10 out of 12 is, I think, what the percentage for locks is. But the algorithm, the way that the algorithm works is it identifies it as a lock if it's over 75% confident. So in theory, we should be around 75% accurate with the locks. Gronk going to play well today? Yeah, I think he will. Cameron Brate kind of stole the show from him in the last game. I don't think that's going to happen again. I wouldn't be banking on Cameron Brate doing what he did last week. Free prop. Yeah, we're less than 20 likes away on the YouTube stream, guys, from giving away this free player prop pick. You got to go like that YouTube stream. We're live on YouTube right now. When we get to 100 likes, we will be giving away our free player prop. We are close. We got about 25 minutes to get there. I think we're going to do it. So I'm seeing an Isaiah McKenzie over under 0.5 receptions. That is about what I would expect. I won't be surprised at all when he goes under that. So I kind of do like the Isaiah McKenzie under. What's up, Sam? You got a free prop brewing? Yeah, we identified 8 player props in the WalterPicks app today. And yes, I do have one that I'm very excited to give to you all for completely free when we hit that 100 like mark on our YouTube live stream. We were about 15 likes away. So 15 of you watching right now, hit that like button on YouTube if you haven't hit that like button yet. What's a player prop? It's when we get to bet on specific player performances. They're actually relatively new. Player props were introduced to sportsbooks about 3 years ago. They've gained popularity very, very rapidly over the last 3 years. That trend to me is not going to stop. It's a very good transition from fantasy football to sports betting. And it's essentially a player prop is you get to bet on a specific player's performance. For example, you can bet on Tom Brady to throw over 2.5 passing touchdowns. You could bet on Kareem Hunt to go over 30 rushing yards. And they set the line of what the over-under is for each player's stats. So that's what a player prop is. And we've built an algorithm named Walter that has had above 68% accuracy in identifying exploitable player prop picks, profitable player prop picks over the last 2 years, over 200 picks. On Fanduel, it says betting only legal in certain states, and I'm not in one of them. Yep, that's tough, Tyler. I think a different person recommended today. Check out Bovada if that's the case. You think Jonathan Taylor would be a good second-round running back pick? Yeah, and I bet that's where he's going to be picked next NFL season. In the late first round, early second round, that's probably where Jonathan Taylor is going to be drafted in fantasy drafts. Hit that like button, guys. We are 15 likes away. 15 likes away. I see a teaser. Rams plus 20, Browns plus 23, Bucks plus 16, and Ravens plus 16. I won't be surprised if the one that kills you there is the Rams plus 20. There's definitely a chance. There's definitely a chance that the Rams lose by more than 20 points. Are you going to do something for baseball? Probably not. Probably not, because my personal views on baseball is one of the least exciting things to watch on television. So probably not going to be doing anything for baseball, at least in the next year. Do you play Prize Picks? Yeah, Matt, I do like Prize Picks. And we actually have an affiliate deal with Prize Picks now. So if you're using the WalterPicks app in the prop tool, You can see where to place prop picks. Click on that, sign up for Prize Picks through that link, and we can get. And you can start placing bets on Prize Picks right through there. McColl or Beasley, PPR. McColl Hardman is an interesting guy. We haven't talked really at all about the Chiefs passing attack because Sammy Watkins is out. McColl Hardman or Byron Pringle are probably one of those guys is probably going to outproduce what they're expected to do. They're probably going to be a bigger part of the offense. And I do think McColl Hardman's my favorite out of the two of them. It could easily end up being Pringle over McColl Hardman. McColl Hardman, though, he's kind of like a straight flush draw. Like, it's really unlikely that he does something, but if he does do well, like, he has upside of over 20 fantasy points. So I do like him in tournaments. And if you need that like last receiver and you paid up for a lot of positions in head-to-head, I'm okay going with McColl Hardman as well. But I don't think I like him more than a guy like Josh Reynolds or a guy like Cole Beasley or a guy like John Brown. Hey, man, how's it going? It's been a while. Jack Murphy, how's it going, man? Thanks for tuning in. Hit that like button over on YouTube, guys. We're 12 likes away on YouTube from being at 100, which is when I can give you that free prop pick of the day. 4-team teaser is just not something you should ever do. 3 comments later, I got that same 4-team teaser. It's about to hit easy. I think I lean towards agreeing with Matt here. I don't really love the teasers. The teasers and the parlays, guys, this is where sportsbooks makes all of their money, really. The sportsbooks cash in on parlays and on teasers because it seems like you're gaining an advantage with those types of bets, but in reality, you're actually losing a lot of your advantage. You're almost giving up any possible advantage that you might have had, like we kind of have with the Walter's algorithm identifying player props. You're losing that advantage when you're doing teasers and parlays, even though they're exciting. I'm not saying they're not exciting. And if you're betting for the reason to have fun, then I'm totally fine with doing teasers and player parlays. But if you're betting for the goal of making money, you probably shouldn't be doing that. It's a crime this dude is not more popular. Keep up the good work, my guy. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And someone asked, is there internship opportunities at WalterPicks right now? And there is none right now, but as we get closer to the NFL season, there could be, and we'll be posting those and interviewing again for those when the time comes. I don't think Ramsey can handle Adams. Yeah, I mean, he has the toughest test that he's going to have. Devontae Adams is the best wide receiver in the NFL. And Ramsey, to me, is the best man-to-man corner in the NFL. So it's going to be a fantastic matchup. Wait, teasers are bad? Yeah, I don't like teasers very much. I think that if you feel strongly about a game, just bet on the game. I think you're losing some of your odds when you're doing teasers. What are your DFS picks for Saturday slate? Yeah, how's it going, Matt? I like that. Your picture always makes me laugh, man. It definitely stands out. I think that when we're looking at the DFS slate just for today's games, I love Cam Akers stacked with the Rams defense. Even though the Packers have one of the best offenses in the NFL, there's really no great defenses in DFS to pick this week. And I think that you can make a strong case for the Rams at where they're priced at on Fanduel and on DraftKings. And I love Cam Akers. And so naturally the stack is something that I like a lot this weekend. In the Ravens and Bills game, I really do like Mark Andrews. If you're not going to pay up for Travis Kelce and you're not going to pay down at Austin Hooper, I think Mark Andrews is kind of the perfect middle tier there. And on the Bills side, Cole Beasley and John Brown, at least one of those guys is going to win people a lot of money in DFS this weekend. John Brown, to me, is probably the most intriguing because he is a guy that really disappointed last week. A lot of people were in on him as a sleeper last week. I love the bounce back sleepers because when someone's hyped up like John Brown was by kind of the mainstream fantasy football media last week, and he was I think above 30% ownership in tournaments last week, he's probably going to be under 15% owned in tournaments this week, which makes him a much more intriguing option. So I think John Brown's upside is very interesting. And for the Ravens, I also like J.K. Dobbins. I think J.K. Dobbins is scoring at least one touchdown today. Do you like Allen Diggs stack? Yeah, you got to love the Allen Diggs stack every single week. Josh Allen, guys, has been the cheat code in DFS all season long. And because Josh Allen was so bad in terms of accuracy last season, like the jump we've seen in improvement from one year to the next for Josh Allen is astronomical. And it's still having some impact in his ownership on DFS. Like, he should be owned way more than he is in these DFS competitions. And he's just not, because people still have this sour taste in their mouth about Josh Allen. What picks do you like this week, Bailey? I'm going to be giving away my free player prop pick in just 10 likes. We're 10 likes away. So hit that like button if you're watching live on YouTube. And when we get to 100 likes, guys, on YouTube, I'm going to be giving away my free player prop pick of the day. And it's in this Rams-Packers game. So I'm very excited to share that with all of you. What's your DraftKings lineup? Again, I was in a 64-person DraftKings head-to-head league, and I'm in the finals today. Final 2 standing out of 64 teams. And in that head-to-head lineup, I'm stacking Patrick Mahomes with Travis Kelce. Both those guys, they have the safest floors to me in their positions. You can't go wrong with Mahomes or Kelce. They're extremely expensive, though, so you're going to have to pay down at some positions. And that's where I'm paying down for guys like Cole Beasley, guys like John Brown. I think the Rams defense is the cheapest defense on DraftKings this week. So all 3 of those made it into my head-to-head lineup as well. Guys, we're 4 likes away from 100 likes on the stream, 3 likes away from 100 likes on the stream. When we get to 100 likes, we're giving away that free prop pick. I got 18 minutes left on the stream. Very excited, guys, to watch some football today. We got to appreciate every minute of football left on our television screens, because in a couple of weeks, we're going to have 1 game left, and then we're going to be waiting a long time for football to be back. And there we go. I'm not a Rams fan. I bought this Cooper Kupp jersey because Cooper Kupp was our 3rd most profitable player for player props this season. So Cooper Kupp essentially paid for this jersey himself. And Cooper Kupp is out today, by the way, making Josh Reynolds an interesting sleeper. And here we are, guys, 100 likes, and we have done it. All right. There are 2 props that we have identified in this game, and I'm going to share one of them with you. All right, so here it is. Here's the prop, the free prop pick of the day. It's Aaron Jones, and I don't think we've even mentioned Aaron Jones on this stream yet. Aaron Jones has scored a touchdown in 9 out of 14 games this season. 64% of his games, he has scored a touchdown. The Packers today, in about an hour, are 1 touchdown favorites in a game where they have an implied team total of 26.5. The Rams defense, guys, it's one of the best in the league, but they've allowed 6 different running backs to score a touchdown in their last 7 games. 6 different touchdowns scored by running backs in their last 7 games. Walter's giving Jones a 68.5% chance to score a touchdown this week. So about a 70% chance that Aaron Jones scores as a favorite at home against a Rams defense that's allowed 6 different running backs to score in their last 7 games. Any odds at minus 150 or better are great value. When I first posted this prop for our premium subscribers in the WalterPicks app, that the odds were actually minus 110 in a lot of places. I won't be surprised to hear from all of you if those odds have changed a little bit. But the free prop pick of the day, Aaron Jones to score at least 1 touchdown. Lock that one in, guys. That one is coming true. So hit that like button if you agree. Let me know what odds you're seeing out there too. I'm very interested to see what those odds are for the touchdown score. I locked it in at minus 110 just a day and a half ago. Gronk and Diggs or Hooper and Michael Thomas. I would probably go with Hooper and Michael Thomas. I really don't love Gronk. Do you like Allen Lazard anytime TD? Yeah, I won't be surprised at all if Lazard scores. Should I take Aaron Jones on the over in PrizePicks on 15.5? Absolutely, Matt. If he scores a touchdown, he's easily beating that one. So yes, implement notifications for new picks on the app. Yeah, Jake, we're working on something very similar to kind of what you just explained. But we will, I think, sending push out very shortly as well. Bovada is saying minus 125, says Jake. I like those odds a lot. Odds are at minus 125, says a different person for Aaron Jones to score at least 1 touchdown. Loving the app, man. Thanks for the wins. Josh, thanks, man, for loving the app and for trying out the app. A premium subscription in the app is the best thing you could possibly do for me. So if you want to show me some love, go subscribe in the app, in the WalterPicks app. That is the best possible thing that you could do for the goals that I'm reaching for of really like working on this app full time. So I do appreciate that, Josh. I need to beat my dad in picks. Good luck with that. I'm rooting for you. Jones for minus 106. That's amazing. Yes, minus 106. That's even better than what I was seeing a day and a half ago. Aaron Jones to score at least 1 touchdown. Anything better than minus 150 is what our algorithm is saying you should take. So yes, minus 106 is fantastic. Down 2 picks overall. That's gonna be close. I'm gonna be in some pain if I make this bet and see Williams or Dillon on that one. Oh, Marcus, that's gonna be brutal. Don't even say that to me, Marcus. I don't want to see AJ Dillon even on the field today with the amount of money I have on Aaron Jones. I got you, Sam. I'm gonna be premium subscribed. Don't forget about us OGs when you make it big. Josh, I will never forget the OGs. What are your straight up picks for the games? Yeah, quickly, straight up picks for the games. I actually made a video on this on TikTok, but my straight up picks for the games, the team I'm most confident in today, it's also why I like the Aaron Jones to score a touchdown prop. The Green Bay Packers, to me, are going to win this game. Straight up in the Bills-Ravens game, I think that game is pretty much a coin toss, like literally flip a coin, heads or tails. But I'm going with the Bills just because I think their offense is a little bit better. Chiefs-Browns, I'm going with the Chiefs, but I do think the Browns are going to cover that 10-point spread. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus Saints, that's the one upset I picked in these 4 games. I feel like you kind of have to pick one upset because there's no way all 4 favorites are going to win. And to me, the most likely upset is the Buccaneers over the Saints or the Ravens over the Bills. But I do like the Buccaneers as a good underdog. Guys, Tom Brady has been on fire. 4 straight games over 300 yards. The Saints defense hasn't allowed a single player over 300 yards this season. That's going to be a really, really fun matchup. Andrew Wiggins and Porzingis both. I know, Jack. Andrew Wiggins and Porzingis. Porzingis had a chance to win the game and win the prop on the last shot of the game, and he missed it. And Andrew Wiggins really had a couple chances to hit it as well. But really good sign that even when we lose, those are close. Like on the NBA props, we launched our NBA part of our app just a week ago. We've had over 70% accuracy on our NBA prop pick so far, and only one of them really has missed by like a ton. DeMar DeRozan had that one horrible game, and other than that, the ones that we missed were like a point or a rebound off. So really good sign so far for the NBA prop picks and how they've started. Aaron Jones and Green Bay to win is minus 105. Yeah, I like that. I think that's a pretty good one. Robert Tonyan over 34.5 yards seems like a pretty fair line to me, Joe. Because the thing with Tonyan is the volume is not there for him, but the touchdowns are. So he's very involved in the red zone, but really not much else. Hawks having no rebound attempts last night was tough. They went down so many. Yeah, agreed. Does Antonio Brown have enough volume to perform well against the Saints D? The volume is a little sketchy with Antonio Brown, but I still think he can definitely perform against that team. Do you like betting on alts? Really, the only thing that I can confidently say that I like betting on is player prop bets. That's the only thing that I've had a positive ROI with over the last couple of years. And it's been a very positive ROI, over 50% ROI betting on these props over the last 2 years. And I do think that the most fun thing outside of that for me is the future bets. And I did place 2 futures before the playoffs started on the Baltimore Ravens and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to win the Super Bowl. So I'm rooting for both those teams, even though I am picking the Bills to win that game. Do you ever do MLB or NHL props? We have not done those yet, but we probably will start working on those. Yo, Sam, Mark Andrews going to get it done today? Yeah, I do think Mark Andrews is going to do well today. And on DFS, I do think that if you're not playing Travis Kelce, you should probably be playing Mark Andrews. And if you can't afford either of them, it's probably Austin Hooper. But I like Mark Andrews to do very well today. I think he has the upside of 70 yards and a touchdown. Sam, do you bet on hockey? Nick, I don't bet on hockey at the moment. I bet on Chiefs plus 650 before the season. Spencer, that's fantastic. I have a bet with a friend. I bet him $300 that the Chiefs would win a Super Bowl in the next 5 years. I bet $300 that the Chiefs would win the Super Bowl in the next 5 years. If I win, I get $200. If he wins, he gets $300. And I think they're going to win this season. I had my finger over Rodgers MVP after week 6 and pulled back. Yeah, that's tough, Josh. What is the best team in the NFL? To me, it's the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are still the very clear favorite. Even though they didn't do that great the last month of the season, I still like the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl. Do you ever play power play on Prize Picks? Yeah, I like both options. I forget what it was, flex play and power play. I like both of them. Chubb, Jones, and Kamara, one has to go. Who? I think that if you're going to make one go there, it's probably Jones, but I'm also okay getting Kamara out. I think you got to keep Chubb, though. So it's either Chubb's a lock, and then it's either Jones or Kamara. You should really implement player props for NHL. They can be really profitable, exploited. I definitely sub, too. Dante, I'm going to look into it, man. Sad day for everyone. Who's winning, Packers or Rams? Cup is out. I like the Packers, and I know Cooper Kupp is out. I'm rocking Cooper Kupp's jersey. He basically bought this for me himself because all the player props that we hit with Cooper Kupp this season. But yeah, sad that Cooper Kupp's out. Probably going to be the end of his season because I do think the Packers are going to win. Is Rodgers blowing out the Rams today, Patrick? It's not going to surprise me at all if Rodgers blows out the Rams. Like I'm most confident of any team winning. It's this first game. It's the Packers beating the Rams. The thing about the Rams is, yeah, they have a really good defense, best defense actually in the NFL. But the thing with the Rams is they can't score points. How are they going to score points? Like they need Cam Akers to do so much to be able to keep up with this Packers team. I'd be really surprised if the Packers win this one. Bovada apparently just changed the odds. I think we're moving lines, guys. Apparently Bovada's changing the odds to -143 for TD for Aaron Jones, which is the free prop pick of the day. Aaron Jones to score at least one touchdown. And this is a great sign, guys, for everyone that got these bets in, that Bovada's moving this line. It is a signal that the line was too low. I mean, that the odds were too low. And this is exactly what our algorithm helps us identify. Almost all of the things we're identifying now are seeing line movement. Like there is a lot of line movement happening throughout the week with what we identify. I think a few of our props that we identified for our premium subscribers, like 2 days ago, have moved like 10 yards since then, which is absolutely insane. It's Aaron Jones to score a TD. Idea for the app. 2 people could pick their player props and whoever gets more wins. Jake, that's actually a really interesting idea. I'm gonna think about that, Jake. Can Jalen Ramsey compete with Davante Adams? I do think he can. I think that if there's anyone that can, it's Jalen Ramsey. But I still think Davante Adams is probably going to end up winning this matchup because, again, I lean towards offense beating defense. And that's why I like the Packers beating the Rams. That's why I think Davante Adams can still do very well. Cole Beasley or John Brown. I like Cole Beasley a little bit more. But the reason I like John Brown and DFS, like you got to kind of separate your opinions about players and how they're going to do and their projections, but also what the perception about that player is for DFS purposes. In daily fantasy sports, DraftKings and Fanduel, that's what I'm talking about with DFS. And for John Brown, I like John Brown a little bit more on DraftKings and FanDuel, even though I think Cole Beasley could do a little bit better because John Brown's going to be owned really, really low after kind of having a dud last week. A lot of people had him last week, over 30% owned in most DraftKings contests. It's probably going to be under 20% in all of these contests today. So I do like John Brown's upside at that ownership. What's your shirt? This is Cooper Kupp, who unfortunately is not playing today. I was rooting for him at the beginning of the stream to play, but this is Cooper Kupp. I'll turn around so you can see. I don't know if you can see that. But Cooper Kupp, our third most profitable player on the WalterPicks app this season. Number 2 was Justin Jefferson. Number 1 was A.J. Brown. We went combined for those 3 players. Combined, I think we were like 15 out of 19 picking those players' props this season. So I do like I do have an A.J. Brown and Justin Jefferson jersey on the way. What team do you think is going to be the most improved next year? This is a great question. I think I need more time to think about this one. But that's definitely that's a good idea for a video. Evans or Beasley? I would lean towards Evans over Beasley. I got Jones -125 on 365. Yeah, Nick, that's great. Anything better than -130 is fantastic for this Aaron Jones prop. Aaron Jones to score at least 1 touchdown. You think Dobbins has the best chance in Bills versus Ravens game to score first TD? Yeah, I do like Dobbins. I like Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson has a pretty high chance to score a touchdown first too. Who you got winning? I got the Packers winning. I have the Bills winning. I have the Chiefs winning, and I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning. Matt Nagy's in the chat. How's it going, Matt Nagy? Brady won't lose to Breeze 3 times. Yeah, Patrick, I agree. How many DFS and betting things do you have going for today? A lot. But again, I'm in a 64 person head-to-head DraftKings season-long league, and I'm in the finals today. So I'm really focused on that in terms of DFS because I can win up to $6K if I win that one head-to-head contest. So I'm focused on that one DFS lineup. But we got 8 props identified for this weekend, so I'm all in on those 8 props. How many points do you think the Bucs offense will put up today? The Bucs don't play till tomorrow, but I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to put up over 25 points, which is right around where their implied team total is. Do you like Cam Akers over 70.5 yards? Yeah, I like that line. I do like that line. Cam Akers is averaging 22 carries, 94 yards over his last 5 games. And he's up against a Packers team that's bottom 5 in the NFL at stopping running backs. So I do like it. You think MVS over 23.5 yards is a lock? I mean, if he gets 2 catches, yeah, he's going to do it. What's the payout? Yeah, the payout. I think it was $150 to enter, but there were 64 teams. First place is getting $6K. Second place is getting, I think, $3K. So I'm really hoping to get that first place prize. You get Ravens or Bills. I'm taking the Bills, but I'm rooting for the Ravens because I put a bet on the Ravens to win the Super Bowl. So I'm rooting for the Ravens because I like their odds beginning of the playoffs. But I do think the Bills offense is a little bit better. So I'm going with the Bills there. And guys, I'm going to wrap up this stream just on YouTube. So if you're watching live on TikTok, I'm going to try to get to as many questions as I can over on the YouTube stream. We got about 3 minutes left in the stream. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. If you don't follow us over to YouTube, have a great Saturday, guys. Go Aaron Jones. He's scoring a touchdown. Looking forward to that free prop hitting. Have a good one, guys. And we are live just on YouTube. How is it going, my YouTube people? This is my favorite part of the stream when I get to just focus on YouTube. Diggs or Akers? I like Akers floor definitely more than Diggs, but I think you can't argue that Diggs has the higher ceiling. I have Chiefs and Browns in takeover pool. Yeah, that's good. That's definitely good. Diggs or Akers? Again, yeah, I think I like Akers more than Diggs, but Diggs definitely has more upside. Guys, if there's any game I'm confident in today, it is the Packers against the Rams. I do not see Aaron Rodgers losing this game. The Packers offense is good enough to beat a really, really good defense. I would be really surprised if the Rams are able, are the Rams realistically going to score over 20 points in this game? Probably not. Probably they're not scoring 20 points. And if they don't score 20 points, there's just no chance I see them holding the Packers under 20. So I do think that the Packers are a lock. The Bills-Ravens game, that's going to be the most exciting game of the day. And that game, to me, can go either way. I'm super excited to watch that one. If Dak signs with Dallas, what are your thoughts on Amari Cooper? He's probably going to be one of my favorite sleepers next season, Jordan, if Dak signs there, which I think Dak will end up signing there. If he does, Amari Cooper is like, he just had the best season of his career or very close to it without Dak for most of the season. So yeah, Amari's going to be a fantastic sleeper next season. Hunt or Singletary on DK? I think I like Hunt more, and I think that that's a bold take this week. I think Singletary is probably going to be the highest owned running back on the slate because there's no Zach Moss. Singletary is being touted as, the best value on the slate, and there's definitely reason for that. But to me, Singletary could very easily still see just like 10 carries and a couple targets because they do throw the ball a ton in that offense, and Josh Allen can easily steal some of those carries. So I don't love Singletary. The revenge game for Hunt is real. I like Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. If you're playing head-to-head, I like the Kareem Hunt, Nick Chubb stack. And in my championship head-to-head lineup today, which has a chance to win me $6K, I'm going with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb stack because when you stack those two players together in a head-to-head lineup, the probability of at least one of them scoring a touchdown is just so massive. I'm taking Chubb over Akers. Hardman or the Lazard King on DraftKings? I would probably go Hardman over Lazard. They're really similar options, but to me, Hardman's just a little bit better given their matchups and given their roles in the offense. I think I like Hardman a little bit more than Lazard, but Fletcher, they're really similar. And if you have the money, I would make a lineup with each of those guys. And that's kind of what the pros do. Like they basically make a core of lineup, then they make hundreds of lineups with that core and then sprinkle in guys like those two. Snead or Reynolds for today's slate? I'd lean Reynolds. Jalen. Snead has a much better chance at 0 points than Reynolds does. Any love for Reynolds with cup out? Yeah. I mean, I do like Reynolds as a pretty good value now. The thing about Reynolds and really everyone that's not named Cam Akers in that offense is that I don't have any faith in Jared Goff. And that's kind of, you're having some faith in Jared Goff when you're playing Reynolds. Watkins is going to play tomorrow. No. Sammy Watkins is already ruled out tomorrow. The free prop pick, Aaron Jones to score at least one touchdown. Do you think the Bucs beat the Saints? Also, could you give an in-depth explanation? Yeah, I do think the Bucs can beat the Saints, and I'm picking them to do so. Here's why. The strength of the Saints defense is their defensive line. They were able to put a ton of pressure on the Bucs in their two games that they played against in the season. 33% pressure rate. That's over double what the pressure rate was for the whole season for the Buccaneers. The Buccaneers need to figure that out. They need to give Brady some more time if they want a chance to win this game. I do think they're going to give him more time than what he has had in their two previous games against the Saints. And the Saints' big strength after that is stopping the run. But the Bucs don't run. The Bucs throw more than every team in the NFL. They throw the deep ball more than any team in the NFL. And that is an exploitable part of the Saints defense. And I think they're going to click on the deep passing game. That's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I also think the Buccaneers defense is a little underrated. So that's the formula for the Buccaneers to beat the Saints. Is Evans and Godwin too risky? Yeah, I think both those guys is too risky. Yeah, he is talking smack on Twitter to the Browns, Marcus. That's great. Gotta love the Twitter smack talking. Guys, have a fantastic Saturday. Go Packers. We're rooting for the Ravens, but I think the Bills are going to win that one. And I hope to see you guys back here in the hour leading up to football tomorrow. Have a fantastic Saturday, and I hope I can hear you all cheering when Aaron Jones scores that first touchdown. Have a good one, guys, and thanks for tuning in.